not just creating obviously beautiful things that take hours to make and are super intricate and just fun, but also the collaborative effort that you have between a client and yourself, or if I'm doing costume with a choreographer, and like the collaborative effort between people is super super interesting. And it's also what I've been, what we're used to as dancers, working with a choreographer and our
Exactly.
bodies, and he asks for something and then you propose something, hopefully it's good or not. And I really do enjoy that it's not just me dictating how something has to look, but also that their wishes and their feelings are part of it. Hi, nice to meet you.
It's so lovely to meet you too. When I saw your Instagram page, I just thought, wow, how amazing. From one beautiful art form to the next.
Yeah, it's working so far, which is nice.
But tell me, where are you from originally?
So I have German parents, but I was
Yeah.
born and raised in the UK.
Oh, okay. So you did your ballet training there as well?
I did half of my ballet training in London at the Royal Ballet School. I mean, half. I was till 11, and then from 11 till graduation was at the Hamburg Ballet School in Germany.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then you were sort of, that's your roots, Germany.
Yes,
Yeah,
basically.
great. But initially, let's talk about your ballet career first. I would love to know what led you to do ballet. What was the inspiration?
It's so hard to say, of course, because it's like it happens when you're not super cognizant at that age. It was
Yeah.
completely by accident. It was at the primary school that I was in. They had sort of dance classes for the kids. I wouldn't even really call it ballet, but let's call it sort of baby ballet. And I think I was only about 4. I think the teacher came in and asked who would like to join, and I said me. And I don't even know why. I just wanted to do it, and I think I did one class, and then there was no stopping me. And I
Really
just continued.
amazing. Yeah.
And then when we moved again, the only important thing that I told my mum was that she finds me another ballet school.
Okay, so you did your training, and then it's of course when it's not a career where you have guaranteed getting into a company. I mean, a lot of dancers know this, when they start. So, but you were in Hamburg in the school. So, did you automatically then got into the company?
Yes, yes, I
Mm.
was lucky enough to be chosen by John Neumeier just to go straight from the school into the company. Obviously, because he was the director of the school as well as the company, he'd seen all of us grow up throughout.
Yeah.
Every year he would always watch the exams and for all the school performances. And towards later years, obviously, we would also be used for company productions. So he really knew us, the children that came through the ballet school, and he prided himself from taking almost exclusively from the school.
Really.
Um,
Mm.
so yeah.
Mm. And as when you are dancing, I mean, I know that dancers you don't want to think about what's going to happen next. You're just focusing on, because that's the dream, to become a dancer from probably a young age. But have you had this idea at the back of your mind that you would like to go into designing?
Yes. So
Really?
I actually had the opposite. I think for me, it was always incredibly obvious and clear that at some point I'm going to have to change career. And I
Mm.
think it was also probably a little bit from my family. I think I would say my grandmother. She was the one at the beginning that was not best thrilled that that was my choice of career. She was always saying,
Really?
yes, not in a completely negative way, but she just
Mm.
really wanted me to go on and finish my Abitur and
Oh,
study.
yeah,
She
yeah.
just thought I was so bright and it would be such a waste. And I don't think she understood that it was a true, real career that one could be happy in and that one could earn a living in. She would always say in German, brotlose Kunst, sort of like it's an art form without that you can't earn bread with. And she was the last one to really be convinced. But I think, I don't know, maybe because of that, I always had it on my radar that maybe it's not everyone always asks the question, oh, well, how long can you dance for? Like every single person that you speak to and you're like, oh, I'm a ballet dancer or I want to be a ballet dancer. And they're like, well, how long can you do that? It's not a very long career, is it? And you're like, no, it's not. Maximum till 40, I would say. Some people are lucky to go longer. And I think I always just knew there was this like, there comes an
It's
end and
going
I'd
to,
rather be
yeah.
prepared than not prepared, because I think I'd already seen people that went into it unprepared and then were very lost towards the end or couldn't let go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, and I've heard also dancers said, if if you have to leave because of an injury, it's difficult. It's easier if you make the choice. You know, if you come to that point where you say, okay, now it's enough.
100%. I've seen that over my years, that it's so painful to see dancers that are forced to retire because of an injury and not because of their own choice. So that was definitely, I mean, we can't always choose, unfortunately, but the ideal is that you with yourself have finished with the art form and say, right, now is my time to go,
Mm.
rather than your body giving out on you, I think.
Exactly. And my daughter was also a ballet dancer, and I remember
Yes.
when she stopped dancing, her, she always said, okay, she always had this dream. So she just saw one thing, and this is becoming a dancer. And now suddenly your mind has to make a shift to think, okay, there's a world out there. What am I going to do? You know?
Yes, yeah, indeed.
Mm.
I think for me, maybe also uniquely, I mean, maybe not uniquely, I think some other people may have the same thing, but I definitely had a point where I was about 16 where I was sort of wavering a little bit whether or not I wanted to
Oh,
be
okay.
a dancer. I love doing it, but that was the first time I sort of started thinking, oh, I've always loved fashion and costume. And maybe it was also the seed that my grandmother put in there, being like, well, maybe I could make more of myself, go and
Yeah.
study.
Yeah.
And so I'd always loved art, I'd always loved drawing, and always been drawn to sort of costume and fashion. And I think I remember always seeing the ads for a fashion school in Hamburg in the trains when I was always on my way to ballet. And I was like, well, that would be interesting to do. But then I also knew, okay, then you have to do Abitur and then you have to like just
Mhm.
continue in school. And so I was really wavering. I was sort of like, well, now at 16 is when we go into the sort of pre-professional program. And it's like, then it's everyday ballet all the time. And so I had this moment of doubt where I was like, oh, what do I want to do?
I see.
But I already
Mm.
knew, I was like, well, it would be smarter to do the ballet first, which you also really love because you need your body for it and you've trained for it your whole life. The designing thing, like you can do later on in life if you're lucky enough. And so it's not something I needed to let go completely, but it's something that would just like stay there simmering in the background.
So how did that transition happen? I mean, was it the day you woke up, or was did it have a sort of a time frame?
Super gradual, actually. It was super, super
Really?
gradual. In the first few years of my dance career, it was just dance, ballet, 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 ballet. And then eventually I just felt like I needed something, a little bit of an escape, because it can all get so much, it can be all consuming. It can, it can really drive your happiness and in life. And I just felt like I needed a little bit of an escape. And so then I just started teaching myself how to sew and started making clothes and dresses for my best friend, and just sort of like it was a hobby, but with the afterthought of sort of like, well, this is what I want to do eventually, so I might as well start sort of slowly teaching myself.
Mm.
And then when I left Hamburg and then went to Le Ballet de Monte Carlo, I kind of put it on the shelf again because I was like, right, now I want to concentrate on arriving here properly, getting myself into this company, into the mindset, just really working hard. Like, and so I left it for sort of 2 years, didn't really do much until it was evident. Like, it's just like I need to start making again. I
Mm.
was like the creative urge
Mm.
was there, and then obviously COVID hit, and we had lots of time, which was wonderful because then I could just dedicate pretty much 3 or 4 months to just
Of course.
learning
Yeah.
everything that I feel like I still wanted to learn, and then used lots of YouTube and lots of the internet to sort of help me, um, yeah, learn everything. Because then I was, yeah, it was becoming clear that what if the world never opens up to being able to have theater again? What if we can't fill theaters with people anymore? It was also unclear.
Mm.
Um, so it
I
really
think,
felt like
yeah.
maybe I need to have another bow to my string that I can stand on if at some point they say, well, there's no money anymore, the ballet company has to close. Good luck.
Yeah, and I think many artists went through that, and many dancers as well, because for dance you really need theater, you
Hmm.
really need the audience, and you need a theater. And of course, you also as dancers, I mean, freelance dancers, um, their careers are also different to dancers who have contracts, but uh, it's not an easy world to be a freelance dancer.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm always so impressed with my friends that are doing the freelance thing because although I mean I'm pretty much in the same boat right now, sort of being, responsible for
Yeah.
yourself. But yeah, it's always at the time when when you're a contracted ballet dancer in a company, the idea of having to organize everything yourself is so daunting and so scary. Because being in a company is so simple. You just show up when they ask you to show up. You do the job that they ask you to do. You try and do your best, and then you go home, and then you can rest, and you don't have to think about, well, what's the
Exactly.
next
Yeah.
show? What's going to be my next salary? How am I going to make it through the
Mm.
next month? What does my year look like? Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I am now. So
Mm. But then, so after COVID, how quickly did you then start? I mean, how did you start? Because that's also, it's like now I see all these beautiful things you do, but how did it start? Did you quit the
it's
job, or did it gradually?
no,
Uh,
I mean, I really just did it alongside dance for a while. So basically, what happened during COVID, one of my good friends, she got engaged. And because she knew what I liked doing, she'd seen some of my work, I'd made like one or two little things for her. She just sort of offhandedly, well, she was like, would you like to design my dress?
wow.
And I was like, oh, that would be such a wonderful opportunity. Absolutely, let's do this. We have so much time now during COVID. And then because the costume department in Le Ballet de Monte Carlo is in the building of where we also dance. So I had already started seeing them a lot, started having quite a good relationship with the head of the atelier. And he had before made dresses for ballerinas in the company that were getting married. And so he said, look, I'll design it. We'll go ask him if he can make it for us. And he flat out turned us down. He was like, no, I don't want to do that because
Really?
it's really stressful. It takes forever. I've done it before, but I really don't want to do it. So then I was like, well, how about you help me make it for her? And he
Mm.
was like, yes, that would be interesting for me if I could teach you how to do it. And because we had so much time during COVID, because we weren't touring or performing as much, we were obviously in the building
Yeah.
rehearsing. But there would be big periods of time that I just had free. And so then I just spent every free moment up in the atelier. I would
Wow.
come in earlier in the mornings. I would stay later in the evenings after rehearsals, and just basically spent a year and a half making her wedding dresses.
Amazing. And what a great mentor to have, somebody that's in the costume department, because that's the wedding dress is sort of a costume, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he was not just, I mean, obviously an incredible, he did an incredible job with all of the costumes, but he made so many costumes and clothes and dresses for himself. He used to go to Venice to the carnival every year, and just the like his work is so exquisite. And he is also someone that taught himself everything,
Oh, okay.
30, 40
Mm-hmm.
years ago. So we just had this sort of affinity, being like, oh, right, we just have so much passion and we just have this will to learn. And so I'm just going to pass on everything I know and everything you want to know. And so it was just a really, really nice exchange.
And how wonderful that that he was also self-taught, because
Yes.
I love these stories where people say, I taught myself, because I think we are so sort of stuck on this idea you have to go to a school. I mean, I'm not talking about medical school, or training for a pilot or something, but I'm talking about this, this way of learning from somebody, from a mentor, and him as well, because I think this type of thing, where you design, where you make clothes, you learn more by doing it than
Mm-hmm.
really by, I mean, there's no theory that can actually prepare you for making the dress.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely at the beginning, I thought, because I think everyone tells you, it's like it becomes this thing where it's like, well, you can only get into the fashion industry if you go to
Oh
a
yeah.
fashion school.
Mm.
And then if you intern with, certain fashion
Mm.
houses. And to go to fashion school, which is university, you have to finish your higher high school education, which I never did because that's what I
Yeah,
did
the
ballet.
ballet.
And so there
Mm.
was always this like, oh, I feel like I'm on the back foot. And I feel like it's going to be incredibly difficult to eventually go into fashion school because, I'm on the back foot with my education. And then as time progressed, I realized, oh no, you can go in as a mature student. And then eventually I realized, I think maybe now I've learned so much by myself that for the first year, I probably will just, I don't know, I would probably learn things.
Yeah,
But then you also hear from people that went to fashion school and they just go, well, I feel like I didn't really learn anything until I left and was in my internship, because the things that we actually learned at the beginning were relatively basic. And a lot of the things that the people that were successful in fashion school were the ones that did all of the work themselves, that pushed themselves further and learned themselves. I have a very close friend who went to fashion school, and she said, "You're doing, I mean, again, what you're doing now, I can't do, even though I have a fashion degree." And so it just kind of percolated out that, like, oh, maybe it's not that necessary. And I guess it's not. I think at the end, it's about the work that you do. It's not how you do it, because
exactly.
it's not, you don't have to go every single step to get to the finished result. It's the finished result that matters. And I think
Exactly.
there's different schools of thoughts of like how you finish a garment correctly, but it's, that there are multiple ways of doing things, which I learned
Exactly.
with working with my mentor, is that he would, even though he'd had 40 plus years of experience, if he didn't know something, he would call the whole team together and go, oh, how would you do this? And then you'd get 5 or 6 different opinions, and then you kind of decide, oh, this one might be best for this option. But there is no it's no true science.
Exactly. And luckily we have a I call it a quick unpick. You can redo it. You can take the stitching out and you can redo it if you're not happy with the result.
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the reality of making clothes on people, is that if things need to fit, you have to constantly unpick and resew things. It's just the way
yeah.
it is.
But I also think we, in many art forms, we are is thinking in a direction of, okay, so when you're a painter, you have to have exhibits, or when you are a photographer, you have to have exhibits, and when you're a fashion designer, you have to have big
Fashion show.
fashion shows, and and I don't agree always with that. I think it's some people do that. And if you go into that route and if you go into that commercial route, yes, of course. But I think there's so much more around art forms that you don't have to, and I think what you're doing also, I love this, and I think it's also very individual because you will now work with a client and you will work with what this woman wants or what this man wants, and it's a relationship that you're building, and it's almost a collaboration as well, between
Yes.
their idea and your knowledge and what is possible and what is not possible.
Yes, exactly. I think that's also what has kept me drawn to this, not just creating obviously beautiful things that take hours to make and are super intricate and just fun, but also the collaborative effort that you have between a client and yourself, or if I'm doing costume with a choreographer, and like the collaborative effort between people is super super interesting. And it's also what I've been, what we're used to as dancers, working with a choreographer and our
Exactly.
bodies, and he asks for something and then you propose something and hopefully it's good or not. And I really do enjoy that it's not just me dictating how something has to look, but also that their wishes and their feelings are part of it.
Yeah, and as a dancer, when you design costumes, um, you also know the movement. You also know how important it is to move in a costume.
Yes, absolutely. I'm definitely learning that now a lot more, really being on the other side. Obviously, we know.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know if you've heard yet, but I've received an incredible opportunity to create the costumes for an upcoming production at the Hamburg Ballet.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I'm basically currently working on. I've sort of put my bridle on the side for the second, and I'm fully concentrating on doing costume design for now. Um, and it's the sort of it's been a dream of mine to do. It's just, again, like, how do you find the opportunity? Who's going to come and ask you? How do you put yourself out there to do something like this? And the learning curve has been steep, but really interesting, and I really do. I'm really enjoying it.
Amazing. And so you work with a choreographer on that.
Yes, he is actually an ex-colleague and a good friend of mine, and we just happened to get into conversation while he came here to Nice to visit, and was just mentioning that he has the opportunity to create a piece for the Hamburg Ballet, and he was just looking for a costume designer.
Wow.
And so I just said, should I
Here
give it a
I
go?
am. Hello.
Hello.
But that's amazing. And then, I mean, this is how it starts, isn't it?
It
If
is,
you're
yeah,
at the right time, place at the right time with the right person.
exactly, exactly. I think, again, sort of going through the transition and ending one's career, even when you choose it yourself and you have all of these plans for the future and you kind of have set up sort of a base in my case, and all the people are telling me, oh, you'll be fine, you know what you're going to do, you're fantastic, la 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 la, you still worry, you still doubt at the back of your head. You're like, yes, absolutely, I know what I want to do, I just hope that people want what I want
Exactly.
to do, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
people actually want what you propose or what you put out there into the world, and also if it's 100% sustainable, um, that it's not just a very expensive hobby that creates beautiful imagery and makes some people happy. It also eventually needs to pay the bills.
exactly. And I think also looking and well, what if you go into a shop today and you buy something off the shelf, it's not that expensive. But if you have somebody make it, we sometimes forget the amount of time, the amount of effort that goes into it, and that's what you're paying for.
Absolutely. I think,
Mm.
unfortunately, the fast fashion industry really has skewed and destroyed the understanding of what it takes to make clothing. For the whole of society, people just do not know the value of clothes, of everything that you put on every day, like from the material that needs to be created to the people that then make that material into clothing. I mean, it passes through so many hands. And just the idea that you can get a t-shirt or a jumper for under €10 is kind of ridiculous. But then it really does not help me when, I'm trying to obviously sell. It's a premium product that I'm selling, and it's a one-off sort of special thing as a wedding dress. But there's very few people that really truly understand how much something like that costs. And it's not that I'm trying to get rich on it. It's just trying to get a fair wage, basically, for the hours of work that you put in and the materials that you use. That you try to use high quality materials that are not plastic or harmful, even more harmful to the environment. So that is really hard to fight against. And there are, most people that come to me have an understanding of that, and still a lot of them will be shocked at the end. Oh, that's a lot more than I expected, or oh, that takes a lot more time than I thought. It's like, yes, it's just me. I don't have an army of petit mains sewing for me. It's just me going from beginning till end. So yeah.
And the fabrics that you use, is it for you? Because that's also part of the whole design, because you have to know the fabrics and you have to know where to get them and the good quality, So that's probably also a big learning curve.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting one. I have to say I've been really lucky also because of the contact through the Ballet de Monte Carlo. So the head of the costume department just said, look, there's this fantastic shop close to Nice that we get pretty much all of our fabrics for all of our productions. And he sent me there, and they're so wonderful, so knowledgeable of what they have. They have mostly dead stock fabrics. They work a lot with the West End, with theatres all over Europe.
Okay.
And they have, fantastic quality fabrics from France and from Italy. And they've also just helped me learn all of the different weaves and fiber contents. And also recently they gave me a bunch of contacts that they have in Paris. So while I've been in Paris, I've been going to all of the places that they shop from. So, I mean, that's the funnest type of learning, is just going in and touching fabric and asking questions and just being on the ground. I think that's really, asking the professionals basically what they would do.
But it's also, if you think of it, this is part of the whole learning. And it's like you say, that's not always what you learn when you go to design school. Of course, you learn about different fabrics, but that actual thing where you make the contacts, where you get another contact, with this whole networking thing, where you find these places, you have time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that probably through people that go through the education, they get, a very clear, rigid idea of like, well, this fabric is used for this, and this fabric is used for this, and this fabric is used for that. And I think if you don't know the rules, it's so much easier to break them, because you don't have a predefined idea of like what would work. I've definitely had times when I've come in to the atelier and have been like, look, this is what I'm making, and these are the fabrics. And they're like, are you sure? Like, that seems really complicated, and wouldn't you like do it like this? It's like, no, I think it will work. And it does work. It's just, they also have a preconceived idea of like what is feasible and what is not. And I just don't have that. So I just go, I also don't know what is super difficult or complicated to make because I've never made it before. But because I also didn't know how to make anything before, and now I make things, I'm sort of like, well, I'll learn along the way. The idea of, making a wedding dress seemed impossible, and we did that. So now if a more impossible dress seems impossible to someone, I'm like, I think it's possible. It just, you just need to try.
And it's also, like you say, almost breaking the rules a little bit, um, and trying new things. Because sometimes if you just stick to the, oh, you cannot do it with this, you cannot do it with that, you can't be that creative and try something new. And it's possible that it can work, like you say.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done that with embroidery before, where it's sort of like, oh, you need a special embroidery frame and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, oh, I don't have the money or the time to go get one. I'm just going to make one myself. I'm going to go to the hardware store and just get all the things that I think I need and just make myself an embroidery frame and then figure out how to do it. And it worked. I think it wasn't orthodox, but at
It
the end of the
worked.
day, my best friend had an embroidered dress and that's all that counts.
Amazing. Oh, I absolutely love it. I think that's the best way, to do it. And I think it's really, and it's comes again back to these transferable skills. All these things that you learn and all these things that you do somehow goes into something else, and helps you with
Mhm.
something else.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I've talked to Spencer Harrison the other day, and we talked about creativity and so on. But also this idea that something just magically happens, that there's not a path, there's not a struggle. Not I don't want to call it a struggle, but that learning phase. So by the time you make this wedding dress, there has been so much before it, or these costumes. There's so much experience before that. So, but for people who see it, just thinks, oh wow, this genius, who did it. But it's all these other things that you had to go through to get to there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so this is the thing. Social media is wonderful. It's such a great tool, and especially um, for me, it's been so great to expose myself and my work without the sort of traditional channels of fashion shows
Yeah, yeah,
and so forth. But it's true that it can create this like false idea that things just magically happen, that I just suddenly woke up one day and I was able to do this, and that it all was super easy. And it, because we also, create content that sort of shows, it
of
doesn't show
course.
the
Yeah,
struggles, it doesn't show the
yeah,
everyday sort of like the days when I'm sat here for literally for hours and I haven't done anything, but I just don't know how to continue. And I'm going around in my head and just like, I don't think I can do this. If I can't do this one thing, then I should probably just stop. And usually it just means you need to make one phone call to someone who knows what they're doing, that just need to tell you to look at it slightly differently, or you just need to drop everything for a day and do something else to
exactly.
come back to it with a fresh eye. But all those kind of things you don't see on social media and with the reels and the videos that you create. But it's true that it can look like that from the outside, that it all just magically easily happened and that I've just come to this point and voila, the world is rosy.
Mm. But are you a good businessman?
I think that's the one thing I probably struggle with the most.
Mm.
Um, I've been trying to learn some things. I did get myself a fashion business consultant, and she has helped a lot. Just making me understand a little bit what one should charge for one's work and how you put yourself out there and marketing and all those kind of things. But I know it's a steep learning curve that I still have to really get into. And I think the problem is, unfortunately, as dancers, we are pretty much always told it's never good enough for our entire career. And so therefore we always lack a little bit of self-worth. And so then when it comes to trying to sell yourself when you need to, or sell a product that you're trying to sell, it's so much easier to undersell myself. I think in everything that I've done so far,
Mm.
I'm always like, I don't think anyone's going to buy it, so I'd rather put the price lower so that more people want to buy it. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's a little bit ingrained in there when I need to break out of that.
Mm.
Um, and I think always when the question comes from a client of like, well, how much does a wedding dress cost? I'm like, literally, how long is a piece of string? It can be from anything to anything? And it's such a difficult question to answer. And I still haven't found the concrete answer for every person, because also every wedding dress is different. Every amount of work is different.
Mm.
Um, but even now with the costume design work, um, just one of the questions that I had was sort of like, well, what is one even paid for this? Like, if they come with an offer, I don't even know if that's acceptable or not. Are they, are they
Yeah.
completely just underbidding me because it's my first time and they know that, or like, is this adequate? Like, these are the kind of things that I still need to learn, and I think some of it takes time. Um, I don't know. I hope to be a better businessman soon.
But I do agree with you. And because with me, I love photography, and it's for me such a great, I mean, when I take pictures, I just look through my lens and I see something that I love. I get so excited. But the worth of it for me is a lot, because I think it's that moment that I could capture. But because so many people have digital cameras, it's almost as if photography, they don't want to pay for photography, and that
Mm,
I do understand, that in that sense, that you have to look at what you are providing, and make your price accordingly. And then
yeah, and
also, sorry, also I know I have two dancers. Two of my children are well, my daughter retired, but I know this thing, and I also know this thing of the choosing somebody for a role. It leaves you for a long time. It's that thing of um, oh, I'm not good enough because I didn't get this part. So you carry that also with you to the other things you do, my daughter sometimes tells me I have to remind myself this is not a role that I've been chosen for, that sort of thing.
yeah, that one's a hard one. And I don't think if it's ever going to leave. I think there's always going to be moments when you go, oh, God, I wish they chose me for that thing because I could have done it really well. And then
Oh, yeah.
I think it will continue to translate on. I think it will take some time to get past that, when I think an opportunity doesn't sort of falls through, that it isn't sort of immediately a self-worth problem. If I've
Exactly.
had it
Yeah.
before where a bride, we've gotten sort of halfway through and then they go, I don't know if this is quite it. I think we need to change it. And to then not immediately go, oh, I did a terrible job, fire me now. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not worthy. To just be like, oh, right, this is about her vision. It's not the work that I've produced is bad. It's just not quite aligned with her vision. Back to the drawing board. Let's try again. Like, to learn that lesson of like, this is not a personal attack to you and your work. It's just a matter of taste or a matter of feeling for her.
Yeah.
She's like, it's beautiful. It's just not my dress. Sort of
Yeah.
those kind of
Yeah.
things. Or when you're talking with a client and they seem super excited, and you go backwards and forwards and you send some designs, and then suddenly there's like, there's no more answers, and you're like, well, what's gone wrong? What have I done? What did I do? What did I say?
Yeah.
You know? And to learn that it's not always personal, that they've got their
Yeah.
own thing going on in their world. And even if it is that they found someone that will do it cheaper or whatever the reason, it doesn't have to do that I'm bad or
Exactly. Yeah.
not good enough, those kind of things.
Mhm.
But they take time and they
Yeah,
take
but
repetition.
exactly. But do you find it difficult if you can see a design on somebody and you know this is going to look beautiful and they keep changing it?
It's always a tricky one, because I think that, because it's not always about whether or not they look beautiful in it and it's beautifully made, or it
Mm.
flatters them. It's how they feel in it and how they think
Oh,
they
yeah.
look in it. So it's they can look beautiful in something, but they'll look at themselves in the mirror and say, "Oh, I think I'm showing too much chest," or "I don't like this part
Oh,
of me,"
yeah, yeah.
which I don't even see because I just see the full person. But they'll see all of the little
Mm.
problems that they have with themselves, or so that's always a tricky one, and you have to be very yeah, you have to be very careful. You have to hold the hand through things, and sometimes I do have to just give in and say, look, then I will change it so that you feel comfortable, even though I do not see the issue at all. Um, but that's the nature of working one-on-one with a personal client. You learn about all of their personal insecurities and learn
Exactly.
how to make them feel comfortable. So it's always a delicate balance. I think my husband always gets a bit frustrated when he's like, "Oh, you have to change it again. You have to change it again." But why isn't she happy? It's like, well, because she's not happy, and I will keep
Yeah.
working until she's happy. Um,
Mm,
and again, it's knowing at this point that it's not me, it's her. And
exactly.
so, yeah,
And
it's a
some,
tricky one. There's definitely
yeah,
some people ask me that sometimes, also going, what if someone wants something that is absolutely not your style, something you would absolutely not want to do? And I don't really know because I haven't really found one yet. But I think I always try and steer
oh yeah.
client into a direction where our styles meet. And one of the fun things that someone also told me is like, well, if you really have something where someone has absolutely terrible taste, but they really want you to do it, charge them a lot of money. If they still want it, at least you get paid well. And
Exactly.
then, you can at least go away with, well, I got paid well. It wasn't
You
really,
got paid. Yeah. At least I
yeah,
can go on holiday.
hasn't happened yet, but
But it's sometimes it's not you, it's not her, it's just the moon, that's in the. But have you made a dress for your grandma already?
no, unfortunately, she's not with us anymore.
Oh, I'm so
So
sorry. I'm so
no,
sorry.
it's fine.
But she would have been proud.
She was. I think that's the thing is this was back when I was 16. She was making these comments, and then when I'd made it into a professional company and I got to dance Romeo, she was there watching and she was as proud as
Oh,
everything. And I
oh,
heard from my parents obviously that she would brag about me to all of her coffee
mm.
ladies that she would have coffee
Oh
with.
yeah,
So it's sort of
yeah,
she
yeah,
came round to it.
yeah.
She understood that it was a real, true thing that involved a
Mm,
lot of hard work and passion, and that I could live from it.
mm,
Compared to most of my other cousins, I had a job at 18, and they all still studied for another 5, 6, 7 years. So you see it this way and this way, and I was just. I think she was just happy also to see that I was fulfilled in what I was doing.
yeah.
Um, so no, she was very supportive. She did get to see some of my work later on, and yeah,
But I think it's that generation also, and it's also Europe after the war. These
absolutely,
people they just grafted, and you had to you couldn't be hungry. You have to do something so you can't be hungry and can't be stuck. So I think
absolutely,
that was that, that it is just what it was that time.
yes. It's very true.
Mhm.
No, yeah, the one like my other grandma, my mum's mother, she was a seamstress, and
Oh, I see.
she is
Oh,
the
so
one that
it's
I
in the
wish
family, in the
it's sort of
genes.
it's in the genes somewhere, that's for sure. I wish she would have known. She died when I was 11 or 12, so I was
Oh,
not
I
at that
see.
point anywhere close to having found
Mm,
sewing or fashion as my passion. But I do always think of her with everything I do. I have some of her sewing tools, which is really nice and special to have. And my mum also, she nowadays she regrets not having followed her mother's footsteps because she said, when she was at that point, she was rebellious and didn't want to do what mum did. But she absolutely loves crafts and sewing, and so she's also always sewing. And we've had some very nice moments together, me and my mum, where
wow.
I come over to her house when she's got a problem that she can't fix, and then we kind of sit together and sew
Oh,
together.
that's
So
nice.
it's also really lovely to have that connection with my mum as well.
Mhm. But I'm sure your grandma knows. I'm
Yes,
sure.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think
she
so
knows.
somewhere.
She knows. But Lena, tell me, what are the wishes now? What is the big dream?
Oof, what is the big dream? I think having had a taste now of doing costume design, I definitely would like to continue doing that. And so I'm hoping this is not just like I mean, I don't want to say one hit wonder because I haven't had the hit yet. We're
Yeah.
still working towards it. But I really hope that with this first opportunity, it will give me some exposure and hopefully some other choreographers or other theatre productions or whatever
Yeah.
will come through. And for the bridal side, I just hope that people keep seeing my work and wanting me to make their wedding dresses, basically. I
Yes,
haven't
but
got
your
any huge
dresses are so beautiful. Wow.
thank you. I don't have any huge unattainable plans at this point yet. I want to keep it relatively realistic. So I think just that I would just like to earn a nice living so that I can pay my bills, maybe go on holiday, and just still do what I love doing. I'm not thinking of, world domination or anything in the fashion world. But yeah, I think just a nice continued stream of clients and potentially some costume design work would be nice. And then we'll just see. As at this point, I love doing it so much. So hopefully that passion stays and it doesn't become, from having a high passion to doing it as your full-time job. I hope that that doesn't leave me because then it becomes drudgery. So I hope that that
True.
also continues. So yeah,
But
just more of the same.
amazing. But I'm sure, and your passion and your eagerness to learn. I mean, I think wonderful things will come your way, definitely.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's my wish for you, definitely.
Thank you.
But there are quite a few choreographers that I've spoken to. So if you find them in my network, then please, reach out to them. And I think for any choreographer, it's great to know about costume designers and freelance costume designers, isn't it? Because usually costume designers are connected to theaters.
Yeah, it's possible. This is the thing is I've always known it as a concept, but I don't actually know the true nature of it and how it
Oh, I
works. Like,
see.
does
Yeah.
one get an agent? Does one, is there even such a thing as being an in-house costume designer? Is everyone just freelance? We'll see. I'm on the learning curve, and I don't know if it's such a thing that a lot of dancers have become costume designers, but I think it's especially for dance and for dancers and choreographers, it's probably interesting to have someone who really understands the
Exactly.
métier of what is needed for costumes. Because I've definitely danced in costumes that were undanceable, and you just had to make it work because that's what the costume designer wanted. And so I think it
No,
might be
I
interesting
definitely,
for them
yeah.
also.
No, I definitely think so. I think you've got that big advantage, that you can understand what a dancer needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lennart, this was so great to talk to you. I was so looking forward to this. When I saw
Me
your
too.
page and I saw what you did and what you're doing, I was really hoping that you would, allow me to interview you because I'm really fascinated by what you're doing.